Hey everybody, what's happening? Son of a Silver Stacker here. In today's numismatic news and information for the third day of November 2021, I'd like to welcome you to JM Bullion so we can look at the live spot prices. Gold's down 544 to 1789.63. Silver's up 11 pennies to 23.70. Platinum up $2.18 to 1058.48, and palladium up 6 cents to 2048.92. Now everything is flat, and there's a really good reason for that. Over here to the U.S. economic calendar at marketwatch.com, you'll see this week's major U.S. economic reports and Fed speakers. So today is Wednesday, November 3rd at 8:15. We have the ADP employment report. And really what's important is the 10 a.m. factory orders, and then the 2 p.m. Federal Reserve statement. And then the Fed Chair Jerome Powell is going to hold a press conference today. So huge news coming out today. I would imagine that will move the markets about an hour before the markets close. So there might be some activity there in the base metals and the precious metals markets because they may have a thing or two to say about inflation. Now, this is from coinnews.net. Precious metals declined Tuesday, November 2nd. And this is from coinnews.net, November 2. Precious metals registered losses on Tuesday that range from 0.4 for gold to 2.4 for silver. And those are kind of, flat for gold, and, 2.5% for silver is not that bad. However, 2.5% down is not the same as 2.5% up, especially from that location. Now, gold for December delivery shed $6.40 to settle at $17.89 an ounce. That's right. Now, it says here the week ahead could be volatile for gold prices. The yellow metal is likely to be influenced by the dollar's movements, treasury yields, inflation expectations, and global risk sentiment. Lukman Otanuga, a senior research analyst at FXTM, said in a note, according to Reuters. So it says here gold futures range from a low to 1789.50 to a high of 1797. And they rose 0.7% on Monday. So this is the important one right here. Silver for December delivery fell 56 cents to 23.50.07 an ounce. Silver futures traded between 23.75 and 24.14. What does this all mean? Well, great question. It means that they expect it to be flat from now on. Like, there's really no movement. 0.5%, 0.7%. It's nothing. I wouldn't be worried about that. It's going to be moving, I believe, from today. And I think all this technical stuff that we're looking at doesn't make any sense at all. You know why? I think this is just mumbo jumbo and jargon and meant to confuse us. Because, they do have the U.S. Mint Bullion sales. But let's talk more about this here, the gold and the silver and all that stuff. Because if we go here to Yahoo Finance, it says here, this is an article by Mark Burton, dated yesterday, November 2nd. The great copper squeeze isn't over yet. Now, this is all my opinion, okay? So I'm just sharing my opinion with you this morning because after I read this. Now, there was a copper squeeze last month at the LME. If you haven't heard that, that was pretty incredible. They had to rewrite the rules so there wouldn't be a default on delivery, I believe. So that's really interesting. So this is Bloomberg. Short-term contracts are once again trading at a huge premium to futures in London, in a sign that last month's unprecedented tightness in spot supplies is far from over. Now it says here, while futures prices are tumbling as the outlook, now futures are tumbling, you see that? That leads to backwardation. And what backwardation is when current prices of an underlying asset is higher than prices trading in the futures market, right? So what that backwardation means that basically that the people that have the most finance available, the most liquid capital available at the time can outbid anybody for those particular items, especially in a market where there's high demand for it. So let's keep reading, and I think that'll become apparent. So when future prices are tumbling and as the outlook for demand deteriorates, surging premiums for spot contracts point to a supply shortfall on the London Metal Exchange, with inventories near a multi-decade low. See that? Multi-decade low of copper inventories. That's huge. Premiums for spot contracts hit record levels last month in a condition known as backwardation that signals spot demand is far outpacing supply. That's right. You know what? It's like that movie in Willy Wonka, where that girl wants an Oompa Loompa, and the daddy will pay anything to get it, right? And that's how kind of things are now, where daddy's going to pay anything to get what they need to operate business, up to a certain point, and then they'll put themselves out of business, right? Because they want to price yourself out of the market, as was the case during the October squeeze. Buyers on the LME are again paying huge premiums to roll forward front month contracts. which basically means the spread between the November and December contracts spiked to a 275 metric ton at Monday's close of trading in one of the biggest backwardations ever seen on the bourse. That's huge, folks. That's just like we're in record-breaking territory here with our metals and silver, gold, flat. Something isn't adding up here at all. Now, if these are doing this, and this isn't the only metal to be doing this right now. There's plenty of other base metals that have dwindling supplies, and we've seen that with silver, right? The steep spot premiums and dwindling supplies of metal on the LME and other exchanges stand in stark contrast to mounting worries over demand that are dragging future prices lower. So maybe the futures are they see that the demand isn't high, but the demand is high now. That's why the prices are so high. Now, 3-month prices have fallen 7.6% from the last month's peak, fueled by a manufacturing slowdown in China and a mounting debt risks in property sector. So with mounting debt risks come less banks offering loans, right? So that could be a credit squeeze along with this metal squeeze. Lots of stuff happening here, folks, that could easily impact us in our numismatic hobby, especially because our clad coinage is made from copper and nickel and these other base metals, zinc, and these are getting very expensive right now to acquire, if you can acquire them, right? Because did you see this? How many contracts are still waiting to be delivered? I forgot where that was in here, but there was a bunch of them that have not. Okay, LME data shows there are still more than 17,300 contracts outstanding that will need to be settled before November contract expires, meaning sellers will either need to buy the contracts back or find copper to deliver into LME warehouses. The open interest in November contracts is equal to 433,000 tons, right? Nearly 14 times the amount of the metal that's available to the buyers in the LME's warehouse network. Wow, 14 times, folks. So the squeeze is definitely not over, and it's just going to impact us down the road. Now, will it impact us to the point where we have to change our metal content for next year's coinage? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they have enough coinage accumulated where they can melt the copper down and separate it, but you don't know. Maybe they could just end it all next year. Who knows? We have a new Met director, and I would expect them to be making some tough choices right now, especially with the way things are going. But if futures are pointing lower right now, do they make decisions based on that? Or do they really know the writing on the wall, right? Anyway, let me stop talking your ear off here. I'm going to get to my +1 here today. And my +1 is called Success is a Direction, Not a Destination. So basically, I'm thinking here is that success is the assembly of all the instances where we can learn from our relationships, actions, logic, and compassion, right? And each of these must be pursued daily and conscientiously. And I think actively as well. I probably should have put that in there. If we're to glean anything from them to improve ourselves, right? Because we're always here trying to improve ourselves and make it better for ourselves, because that makes it better for other people around us. That's right. Listen, I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you hear and see, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. Son of a Silver Stacker, out.